Hey everyone, it's Paul and Kyle. Uh, we're back with another episode of the Hip Hop Debate. Uh, if you haven't realized by now, we are doing episodes with just the date because there's no one topic anymore, so we're just debating. So just the date is a topic, but we're gonna go, dive right into it. You guys kind of know the format. Uh, First, we're gonna talk about anything new in hip hop. Um, did you happen to see and or listen to Forlorn 2 by Wale?
No, I saw that he dropped an album, and I don't know. I've never been a big Wale fan. Like I guess just never get into him.
Me
I
either.
appreciate him, I respect him, but I don't know. He had one good mixtape. I think it was called like the mixtape about nothing or something like that, and that
The
was.
album about nothing?
I think he had a mixtape, and then he did an album
Oh,
too, and
okay.
uh, and I just liked those just because like I'm a big Seinfeld fan, so like I thought that was like kind of like a little funny theme that he was doing. But other than that, like I've never been a big fan of him, and then I don't really know why. I just I've never really paid any much attention to him all that much.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I kind of liked him a little like freshman year when he had, some bangers on his like first debut album.
Yeah,
And he was on some good features. He was, MMG was hot at the time. It was Rick Ross, Meek Mill,
yeah,
and Wale were all like doing their thing. So
yeah,
uh I liked him then, and then after that, I was just like, he had some singles I would listen to. That's about it.
yeah.
He's on Travis Scott's first mixtape, Al Faro.
Okay.
So yeah, we both didn't listen to it, so we'll go on to the next thing. Did you listen to Culture Jam by Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard, he has an album.
So he put out like a DJ Khaled type thing, where he put out
Uh,
like a collective
so is
artists. He's
he
not, he's
okay?
not rapping. So he's like DJ Khaled. I don't even know if
So
he has ad libs like DJ Khaled, but it's the same premise.
okay, but so is he like producing? Is he DJing, or is he just kind of like a hype man that gets them all together and
Maybe he's just a basketball player, just wants to create an album and doesn't want to do any music.
yeah, I don't know, man. That's kind of interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, but again, I didn't listen to that either. So
It's a very
yeah,
slow week in hip hop this week.
yeah, it really is. I wrote one more thing, and then the Wu Tang episode. So um, I don't know if you're not really on Twitter. I feel like I ask you this all the time.
I have a Twitter account. I don't do much on it, but I do have one to kind of check in every now and then.
So I don't know if you looked in this week. Big Sean was like kind of going on a little rant,
Hmm.
not rant, but he was just kind of getting his frustrations out how he feels like he should be in this top guys of like his group, like the Kendricks and the Coles and the Drakes. And I also don't agree. I know I like him more than you do, but he's not. He's like B level of that group. I think. I know you might even think C level, but I think he's like a B level. He's in like with Tyler Creator, Meek Mill, to me,
Yeah,
Logic. Um,
yeah. I don't know. I've always liked him. Like I've always thought that he's I think he had a couple albums in the middle where like I wasn't too crazy about, but I think his first album I really liked a lot.
I still
Um,
like it.
yeah, like I'll still revisit that every now and then. And then I'm even kind of impressed with like some of like the last two albums that he had, which I think were the last one was Detroit, right? And then
Detroit too. Yeah.
or Detroit too, yeah. And then the one before that was I Decided, right? And that one wasn't that bad either. Um,
I I couldn't get into that one.
no. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I like I said, like, you know, I liked him. I like him a little bit. I definitely wouldn't put him in the conversation with like a Kendrick or a
Yeah.
Cole or anything like that. But in terms of like his relevancy, like I feel like he can, like you said, he's kind of like a tier two or tier three kind of artist. So um, you know, he I feel like he's just I don't know, like he thinks more of himself than other people do. So I feel like he thinks like he's like one of the greatest like to ever do it when like, really he's just like to me, he's just average.
He's gonna be like he's a guy from a generation. He's not generational. He's just
Right.
like
Yeah,
Ludacris, early 2000s. You think Ludacris, Ti, certain
exactly.
guys, 50 Cent,
Yep.
Eminem, but
Yeah.
he's gonna be the 2010s was you remember Big Sean from that. The other guys, yet the top tier are all like generational. They go,
Right.
you know, throughout history.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. He's just kind of like a guy that's like in the same generation as people who have made this generation like different. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
have the Kendricks and the Drakes and stuff like that. And like he's kind of there and he's good, but like he's never done anything that like, you know, makes people go, wow, that was, you know, that was great, or you know, or like holy cow, like that's a game changer. Like he's never been that kind of artist. He kind of just raps, you know. So
Yeah. I saw it and I thought the same exact thing. I was like, all right.
yeah.
And then last is the Wu-Tang episode 9. It was you're waiting for that cream. I know you're waiting for the making of that song.
Oh really? I didn't see the episode. So is that when it's
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. The title of the episode is Cream, so
oh well then
you have to assume
it's pretty straightforward then, right?
yeah. So we won't dive into it too much, but it was another good episode. It was this season has been really good. They, you know, they were all struggling making, I won't go too much into it, but they're all struggling at some point making a song. And they were like, man, they struggled at the end together to make a chorus. And then Method Man came in and did his thing. But yeah, it was a good episode.
Awesome.
So.
I'm probably gonna go watch it right after we film this because Bree is actually, I got her into watching it now.
Wow.
And she's never, you know, I mean, she's probably heard a couple songs, but like, you know, and you know, obviously she knows them from me because, you know, I have Enter the 36 Chambers on vinyl and everything like that. So like she knows who they are. But we basically made a deal. Like she had to watch Wu-Tang because she really wanted me to watch. I don't know if you've seen the show, but it's called You on Netflix.
Amanda watches it.
Yeah.
I think I'm not in that predicament.
So yeah, she told me, she was like, you have to watch You, and for a while I was just like, no, like I'm just not doing it, whatever. And then finally I was like, okay, you know what, if you watch Wu-Tang, then I'll watch You. And so far she's on like the first like 4 episodes of Wu-Tang. So yeah, so I got her watching it. So yeah, so I'm excited. I'm probably gonna go watch it right after this episode.
Nice. Awesome. So that is it for, you know, what's going on in hip hop this week. So we're going to dive right into the first topic. And the first topic is who's emo rap's biggest influencer? And I think this was a very hard decision to come to. I don't know about you, but for me, it was. I feel like there's so many different avenues you could have went with this.
Yeah.
Even outside of hip hop, you could even said something, you know, if you felt like they might have had a bigger influence. So you came up with a topic. So do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Yeah, let's hear what you think. Let's hear what you got.
All right. So for me, emo rap's biggest influencer is Kid Cudi. To me, you know, him and Kanye were on the forefront, I feel like, of that new generation where it was okay to show your emotions, and they both were, I feel like, just as influential. Just Kanye's just a bigger artist, but they both had a big impact on being okay with your emotions or just being okay to be vulnerable. So I think that's why. And then also he more, I think, was then Kanye was big on you know, mental health even a little more than Kanye, and you know, suicide, even like suicidal thoughts and feeling alone or depressed. And I think Kanye was more artistic with it because that's just him. But for Kid Cudi, it was, you know, more raw in a way. You could say he's not as like produced as Kanye always is, especially around that time. So that, and then also he provided the blueprint for emo rap, and just more, I don't think the sound as much, but more what the topics are about and the, you know, the songs themselves, like Day and Night, Pursuit of Happiness, Leader of the Delinquents, Erase Me, and more newer one, Reborn. I think that is a really good example of that. And then also he brought out a whole new fan base, like he's one of those like cult followings in a way. Like, even though like personally, like I liked him in the beginning a little here and there, I actually didn't like his first album at the time, but he grew on me. And then he's just someone that still has like a cult following, like a Tyler the Creator or Childish Gambino, even some of those artists that you're like, they just always have a big following. And then also he influenced some big rappers, like obviously the clearest one is Travis Scott. His artist name is Scott, and that's Kid Cudi's first name, of course. Childish Gambino, in a way, his music is kind of similar with the singing and the melodies and the topics as well. And then 808s, and around 808s, he influenced Kanye. He was a big part of what 808s is and what it, he was able to bring out of Kanye in a way. So I think just that all those things make him the biggest influence on emo rap, and he is like kind of like we said with trap with T.I. or whoever people think is the for trap, that's what Kid Cudi is for emo rap, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 150% agree. I
Awesome.
also picked Kid Cudi. I didn't think you were gonna pick him. That's why I thought this would be like a good kind of debate. But yeah, to me, like there's really no arguing about it. I mean, I think like you kind of said before, like we had like the Drakes and the Kanyes, and even like to a lesser extent, like maybe J. Cole a little bit. Like I feel like when those guys started coming in and they were kind of influencing each other, like you're absolutely right. Like they changed the way people rap, and just kind of like the style of rap. Like they allowed you to kind of show your emotions and kind of not always have like this like tough guy persona.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to like being consistently like just like emo, like Kid Cudi is like consistently emo. Like there's never a time in probably any of his songs where like he's just like rapping about like how much money he has or like getting girl, like what I mean. Like he's not like a flaunter. He uses rap to like show you like he has some like serious like mental health things going on. And
Yeah.
to me, like he's not only like one of the first ones to like do that consistently, but he's also like one of the ones that just like like he does it so well, and he kind of makes you feel like how he's feeling, you know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
just kind of what I mean by like he's like consistently emo. Is like every single track is like there's some line or some theme where it's just like holy crap, like this guy's life is like terrible. Like it's like if he's saying what's
Yeah.
like true, like you know what I mean, like this guy's life is just like a mess. And he does it in a way where it's just kind of like a creative style to it. Like I personally think that a lot of people discredit him because I feel like he's another one of those people that created like a whole new style of rap music.
Yeah.
Like not only are you being like super emotional in like all of your songs, but like he was also able to do it over some like crazy beats and crazy instrumentals. Like we never heard like psychedelic beats in hip hop like until we heard Day and Night, right? Like Day and Night was like one of the first songs to like have like that trippy kind of like style to it. And I feel
Yeah.
like that influences people like Travis Scott and like even like a little Uzi Vert to like have those kind of like trippy melodies. Because how can you possibly like rap about like strong like depressing feelings over like a hard hitting like drum kick and stuff like that? Like you can't. Like, you have
Yeah.
to have like a beat that goes with that mood. And
Yeah.
I feel like Cudi just kind of made that happen. And then there's also like they're talking about like the drugs and like kind of like taking drugs to like get rid of pain. And you learn so much about him, like his father dying. Like he talks about his father dying on like the second track of his first studio album. So like if you didn't know Kid Cudi before like that, like that's a very like almost like eye-opening thing to like hear on like the second song of a first album, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like just like those themes that he constantly like talks about in his songs is just crazy. And then for me personally, like some of the lines on some of his tracks, like to me, like Soundtrack to My Life is probably one of like his most like hard, like just like depressing songs, and you don't really think about it, but when you think about the words that he's saying in that song, it's kind of crazy. Like some of the lines are like, the moon will illuminate my room and soon I'm consumed by my doom. Like that's just kind of a crazy line. And I'm super paranoid like a sixth sense, and since my father died I have been writing since. Like there's just so many lines on so many of his songs that are just like so like gut punching and just like holy cow,
Yeah.
like guy is so sad. And to even get to like
Yeah.
some other songs like Reborn and Sad People, which is kind of a newer one, still kind of carrying that vibe. But I always like, how can you not mention Pursuit of Happiness? Like and
Yeah.
I think that song is so like interesting too, because like most people relate that song to the what was it, the Project X movie. So like
Yeah.
when that song comes on, like everybody's like, oh, this is a great like club banger and we're gonna party out to it. But it's really about him like being sad and like he's on the pursuit of happiness. Like so he's not there yet. He's still depressed, but he's like he's
Yeah.
getting there. He's getting there. So like I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of people don't really like know that song and like appreciate it for like what it is actually. But like,
Yeah.
that's just another one of those songs where it's just like it shows like just like how sad he is. And then the last thing I just want to say, kind of like what you already said too, but like a lot of people will say like, there wouldn't be Cudi without Kanye because Kanye kind of put him on. But I also don't think Kanye would be the artist that he is without Cudi either. So I think
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you said. Like Cudi was inspired by Kanye, but also Kanye got inspiration from Kid Cudi too. And it's clear because on 808s and Heartbreak, like Cudi is a writer on like 4 of those songs. So he's a writer on Welcome to Heartbreak, which is what he's on. He's a writer on Heartless, Paranoid, and RoboCop. So I just feel like he influenced Kanye just as much as Kanye influenced him. And I feel like you're starting to see that more and more with like newer artists like Lil Uzi Vert. Trippie Redd is another guy who like
Yeah.
kind of has some like very like serious and like sad writing. And I think all of that just kind of pays homage to Cudi. He may not be the best rapper and he may not do everything like in the best way because he's had some terrible albums for sure. But I just think like his style and his ideas influence so many people today to like rap that way,
Yeah.
so I would totally agree. I can't believe you picked Cudi because I thought you were going to pick somebody else. So I
Did
was
you, who
surprised.
do you have any people who you thought I was going to pick?
I don't really know. I didn't think that you were a big Kid Cudi fan, so I didn't think you would say him. I thought maybe you would take like a left turn and go like somewhere else, like I don't know, like maybe like a Drake or something like that. But yeah, no, I was surprised, and I'm glad we agree.
Yeah, because I feel like it's without a doubt.
Yeah.
So we're going to go on to the next topic. So the next topic is 2016 the greatest XXL freshman class? So since I went first last time, I'll let you take the floor.
Okay. Wow. You messed me up with this question because it was hard, and I really had to think about like who was in each class. In terms of 2016, I would say based on relevance, maybe. I feel like everyone in that class is like pretty relevant, and like you still like know them, like pretty much everybody in that class, right? And like most hip hop fans probably know like every artist and have heard like some songs, maybe some albums in that class. So I think in terms of relevancy, like probably because like all of them are so relevant, all of them are still like so like people are still interested to hear what all of them have to say. When I think of like who's in that class, like there's really great artists like Denzel Curry and 21 Savage and Dave East, and Anderson .Paak does his thing. Like Anderson .Paak is so talented and so he just comes with so many different things, and he can produce, he can sing, he can rap. Like he's just a very versatile artist, and so I
Yeah.
like that a lot about him. And I also think that I was able to see their XXL cipher. I watched that cipher like all the time because I love Denzel Curry and 21 Savage's verses. Like I think that those are the two of some of the best verses on a cipher from the double XL freshman class. Like I think that those 2 verses are just great. So like a lot of those artists that I just mentioned, like I really like, but some of these artists are fucking terrible. They are so I just have to say it. Like I personally, I don't care for Lil Uzi Vert at all. Like I think that again, we kind of just talked about him briefly. I think that he's kind of taking that Kid Cudi thing and kind of going off with it, but I just don't think that he's that great. I think Lil Yachty is a joke. I think Lil Yachty, like I did like his like first mixtape, which I'm trying to remember. I think it was it Lil Boat or something like that. Um,
I
the
think
one that
so.
the one that had Minnesota on it. That's how I remember it.
Yeah.
So like I could get into that like on a like on a day where like I'm feeling that vibe, but other than that, like I can't get into any of his music. I think he's a joke. Designer had like his one time, his one time in the spotlight with the
Yeah.
panda and all that kind of stuff. So at some point like he's just going to be like completely phased out and he's not even going to matter anymore. And then the last 2 people, I can't even get started with these 2, Kodak Black and Lil Dickey. Like I just can't do it. Like I can't do it with either of them. I think that they are probably 2 of the worst rappers I've ever heard in my life. Like I can't. If you think that I can't stand Little Young Thug's voice, I can't stand Kodak Black's voice. And with Lil Dicky, like I just feel like he tries to be funny. And like sometimes it's like, okay, like, yeah, that's really funny. But then other times it's just like you're just being dumb. Like that song about saving the world. I think it was for like Earth Day or whatever. Did you ever hear that
Yeah.
song?
Yeah.
God, like what is that? That is garbage. That song is so garbage. And like it's funny because like you have like people like Joel Embiid on the track and Kevin Hart saying that he's Kanye West. Like I get it, that's funny, but like just the song itself, like I don't know, I can't take those two seriously at all. So that's kind of my thoughts on 2016. I think some honorable mentions for me before I tell you who I think is the best. I think an honorable mention to me is 2013. I think that they have a lot of very underrated rappers on that list. Like I think Schoolboy Q is very underrated. I think Joey Badass is very underrated. I think Ab Soul, Logic, Action Bronson, very underrated. Even Kurt Cobain's. Kurt Cobain's not that bad. Like he can do some things. To me, I think he's all right. But then the last two, you also can't forget Travis Scott and Chief Keef. Like Travis Scott is one of the biggest artists out right now, and Chief Keef, even though he may not be good, like or he may not be great, but like he still kind of had a very pivotal role in like the whole like Chicago drill scene, you know. So I feel like that, like, you know, even though he may not be like one of the best rappers out there, like he still is able to like do some things. Another honorable mention, my last one, is 2010, because you have J. Cole, Nipsey Hussle, Freddie Gibbs, Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, and J Rock. Some really good rappers. I wouldn't say anything like spectacular. J. Cole is probably the best one out of all of them, although actually Freddie Gibbs is pretty good too. And then, you know, you have Nipsey Hussle, and we just kind of talked about Big Sean and Wiz Khalifa. J Rock is a little bit like, you know, under the radar. Nobody really pays attention to him all that much, but he's still decent. But to me, I think that the best one out of all of them is 2011. And I'm going to say Meek Mill, you know, even though I'm not personally a big fan of Meek Mill, like he gets his dues, you know, people respect him. People, you know, listen to his albums, like his music. You also have Big Crit. I think Big Crit is probably next to Denzel Curry, the most underrated rapper right now. I think Big Crit is really great. You also had Sci-Hi the Prince. Like, what happened to him? Because he for a while he was like rocking it. Like he was good. Like I still get goosebumps over. Yeah, I still get goosebumps over that verse that he did on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy with the, you know, with the Trojans call me Matt Liner, and you know, whatever it was, like he took like the months and like made like the months like all names and shit like that.
Yeah.
So like I thought for a while like he was gonna be like a great up and coming artist. And he kind of dipped off for a little bit. You also had Lil Twist, you know, not bad. Yellow Wolf, he's actually not that terrible either. And then you also have people like Mac Miller. You know, rest in peace to Mac Miller. But you know, a lot of people respect Mac Miller, and me personally, like I liked his last album, and I'm still kind of in the process of like listening to the mixtape that he re-released. But I'm kind of getting into him a little bit more. YG, I think next to probably when Good Kid, Mad City came out, like I would say that YG's debut album was like the little brother to Good Kid, Mad City at the time. You know what I mean? Like Good Kid, Mad City came out, and everybody was like, "Wow, like this album is great." Like you know, it's like a story. You get to like see like what living in Compton is like. And then YG came out with an album that wasn't better, but it was still kind of like, you know, right next to Good Kid, Mad City. And then Little B, he's not that bad either. He's okay. But you obviously can't say 2011 without Kendrick. And to me, Kendrick is probably the best rapper like alive right now, even though he hasn't really been doing much lately. I still give him that edge over pretty much anybody in the game, just because he's done such a great job with just 3 albums, you know, or 4 albums. So I think right now he's still like on top. He's still top of the threshold. And he came from that era along with some pretty other good rappers too. So 2016, I don't know. I'm not feeling the best ever. I'm thinking more 2011, but what say you?
Man, there's a lot of things I wanted to say during that. One, did you ever watch Dave?
No,
Dickey show?
Nope.
It's very good.
Is it?
And his album, I didn't think it was that bad. I gave it a try. And there's some other things we'll talk about after, but I have to agree with 2011 right off the bat. I had 2016, but you convinced me to switch to 2011. That's how close it was, because I had, before the show, as I told you, I switched to 2016. But 2011, man, how do you I highlighted the ones I thought like were the reason why. And 2011, obviously Kendrick, Meek Mill, Big Crit, YG, and Mac Miller. Like that's some pretty good artists, and like,
Yeah.
you know, pretty relevant. And obviously Kendrick, I won't mention, you basically said everything. Meek Mill has been, he had a point of irrelevancy, but he bounced back.
Hmm.
Big Crit, like you said, is like next to Denzel Curry is one of the, to me, also one of the most underrated artists.
Hmm.
YG, he's had some pretty, besides his first album, which I think is really underrated, uh, because of the time Good Kid, Mad City was out as well. But also
Yeah.
he's had some decent projects since that I've liked. And then Mac Miller, he has that also that big following, and obviously, like I just said, I didn't really listen to him, but he's someone that I you know have, or I recognize that as a big, as a big following and a big artist. But then 2016 to me is right behind that, because I feel like you have, and I know I don't really like Lil Uzi Vert that much. I like some verses here and there, but I just don't. I think he's overrated. He doesn't do it for me. 21 Savage, I think, is actually on the rise, which is wild because he kind of started pretty good and he's just getting better
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna, really elevate even more. Dave East, he's had some
Hmm.
really good projects, and he's really that New York rapper of this generation.
Yeah.
Uh, Denzel Curry's, like you said, I think he's also the most underrated, personally. Lil Yachty, and I know I also don't really listen to him, but he has a big, not even, he's more of a personality, not even, or just a person. He's like a brand. He raps, but he's also like does commercials, and he's just a known person in society, I feel like. And
Yep.
he's not just known for the music,
Hmm.
because if he was, then he wouldn't be as big as he is. Um,
Yeah.
and then, Anderson Paak, I'm not really, besides Silk Sonic, I haven't really listened to much of Anderson Paak. I think I listened to a few of his songs here and there, or him on a feature. But he's a very, I know from hearing a lot of people, as such as yourself, like he's a really good artist.
Yeah.
Um, and then Kodak Black, I don't really listen to him either, but he has a following, and I gotta respect that, even though I'm not going to speak on him, but he's done some crazy stuff, and I personally can't be a fan of him, and I also just don't like his music. And
Hmm.
then G Herbo also he's having, I think, a little of a resurgence as well, because he's been around, and then he's had, like, I feel like 2021, he's been, you know, pretty relevant. I've been seeing on, like, having some, songs and then some features he's been on. So I think it's right behind 2011. And then also 2013 is like third to me. I won't get too much into them, but, J. Cole, Big Sean, and Nipsey Hussle, those three alone are
Hmm.
also like enough to carry a group. But I would have to say, 2011, agree with you on everything.
Yeah, yeah, and 2016, like I can appreciate like a lot of what people are doing, like a lot of the followings, like that are following like a Kodak Black has, or you know, Lil Yachty. But when I think of like, I was just like thinking like, are we talking about like best like rappers? Because like like I personally don't think like Lil Yachty and Kodak Black are good rappers at all. Like or like Lil Uzi Vert. So I was just kind of thinking more along the lines of like rappers, like who can rap. Like I take some of the people from 2013 or 2010 or 2011, like I take them over like any of those guys. You know what I mean? I'm not like the Denzel Currys and 21 Savages, but like more like just like again like the Lil Uzi Verts and Lil Yachty and Kodak Black, Designer, Lil Dickey. Like there's so many people from the other years that I would just completely think would like annihilate them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so like I can appreciate like their following, and a lot of people for whatever reason like those guys a lot, but for me, I don't know. Like I just, when I'm thinking about rapping, like I'm thinking about some of the other guys from the other years that are just way better,
Yeah.
Um, so that's my opinion. I don't know where I would put 2016 yet. I don't know where I would put them in my ranks, but it's definitely, for me, it's definitely not above 2011 for sure.
Yeah. I have to agree. Um, all right. So now we're going to go on to the final topic. Um, what would be your ideal versus, and who would win? So for anyone who doesn't know what versus is, it's a uh, one-on-one battle, like hit battle between two artists or possibly two groups, like they had the Locks and Dipset. Um, and then, usually it's one-on-one, but I don't know. I feel like they vary, going between like 20 songs, like 30 or whatever. I don't know. Some of them go really long, but so for me, for my ideal verses, it would be Jay-Z versus Drake. I think that would be the easily, I think to me, like without a question or without a doubt, the best one.
Yeah.
The amount of hits would be insane.
Hmm.
It would have to be like a three-part series, like a, you know, who best win 2 out of 3 or something. I don't know. I think, Jay-Z personally would win.
Hmm.
That would be me. Um, he, because of how long he's been in hip hop, if you're going last 10 years, it's Drake. But if you're going, their whole discography, I think it is still Jay-Z. But like I said, if it's last 10 years, it would be Drake. So if we revisited it in like 2030, it might be a different story because Drake might easily, if you do the whole career, it's easily
Right.
Drake.
Yeah.
But I think Jay-Z takes cake. And like I said, Drake has been only in hip hop for like 11 to 13 years, depending on, when you really want to say he started, if it's like the mixtapes or his debut album, if you want to start there. Um, so I think it's crazy that he's already pitted up against, to most people, or to some people, the GOAT, or at least to most people, the biggest hit maker in hip hop. Jay-Z is just known as Jay-Z makes hits, and he's also like really good at rapping as well. But
Hmm.
he's had a million hits.
Right.
Um, so I just pulled a quick stat for Jay-Z has on his Apple. What music streaming service do you use?
I use Apple Music.
Okay, I do as well. And I go to Artist Essentials like to listen if I'm in the mood to listen to certain artists sometimes. So I just went into their playlist and looked at their song count and the uh, amount of songs as well, or the time as well. So Jay-Z has 40 songs in 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Mhm.
How many think Drake has?
I don't know. Jay-Z has 40, so I'm gonna say Drake has about maybe 65.
Wow, you are very close. A little
Am
over
I?
63.
Ah, darn. I didn't think I was gonna be
Yeah.
that close.
Yeah. I was like, when you said started with six, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he has 63 song or 60, yeah, 63 songs, 4 hours and 10 minutes of
Wow.
playtime. So like I think Drake, but going along with that, I think because Drake is in the streaming era, his is that's why he has more songs. But if you had streaming back then with Jay-Z, I think he would also have close to that as well. It's just some of the stuff is I think still on title, and also that he just like I said is not in the streaming era, so he doesn't have that stat that like I think also Drake gets like the Billboard stuff because of you know it's a different era I feel like so. But I would if I had to go right now, I would pick Jay-Z versus Drake, and then Jay-Z would take the cake on that, the pound cake on that. Uh, yeah. And what
uh,
about you?
Man, this one was tough. I just kept like going through, like I wanted to match people up with like, like who like respect each other, but also will like be like a good fit with each other. So
Oh,
like, yeah, what?
never mind.
No, no, go.
Jay-Z versus Drake could also they could have some good songs that they do together too. They have some really good
True,
songs together.
true.
Sorry.
Yep. No, yeah, no, that's a good point. And yeah, I just kept going off with some names, and I was able to kind of, I don't know, I'm still like contemplating it, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to come to a definitive answer until like I get to that point. But like I came down to like three that I kind of was like kind of going back and forth with. But some of the other ones that I just thought of quickly, I thought of like Dr. Dre and Snoop. I feel like that would be fun. I feel like Kanye and Pharrell, that would be really fun. I was also thinking maybe like Lil Wayne and Drake, because if you think about from like last episode, we talked about how they're the only two rappers on like whatever the Billboard chart is. I forgot what they title it, but they're the only two rappers like on that list of like, the Beatles and Taylor Swift and, just a whole bunch of other people. So in terms of hits, like, that would be kind of cool. I also kind of did like a producer one. So I was thinking like maybe
Okay.
like Eric B versus RZA. I think that would be kind of cool. to kind of see that unfold and just kind of see them like, put together some cool beats and stuff. And then
Yeah.
the last two that I'm just going to briefly mention, I thought of, if he was still alive, I thought DMX and Eminem would also be kind of fun because they're both just so like crazy and like outrageous. And even like both, like all of their singles, right? Like all their singles are like very similar. Like they're just like these like hardcore, like in your face, like, no
Yeah.
filter kind of thing. So I feel like that could be fun. And then the last one I just want to talk about briefly is, I did like an R&B one, and we talked about it a little bit before the show, but Usher and Justin Timberlake. Like I feel like that could be pretty good. I feel like, Usher might win that one, but I think if you think about like everything that Justin Timberlake has done with his solo career and in sync as well, like you're gonna get some people who like definitely want to hear those hits,
Yeah.
So for me, it came down to three, and one of the ones I was thinking of was Eminem and 50 Cent. I think that would be really
That would be
cool.
good.
Um, I I think Eminem would win that one a little bit too easily though, just because like I feel like Eminem has a little bit more hits. Like 50 Cent had a really like good run with like his first album, but then after that he kind of dipped.
See
And
his first
and
two.
yeah, and like Eminem did the same, but it was just a little bit like later on, So I feel like Eminem in terms of like hits has more. And then I think I'm blanking on my second one, but I think when it all comes down to it, I think I would want to see Nas and Jay-Z. I think that would be really cool. I think Jay-Z would clearly win just because of the hits. Although for me personally, like if I'm comparing the two, like I'm always gonna pick Nas over Jay-Z. That's just me. I'm biased in that way.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're gonna catch my interest, like those are gonna be the two to team up together to do it, because they had a beef for a while, and it would just be cool to kind of see them do like something cool together, because now they're kind of like over it and they're kind of respecting each other more now. So I
Yeah.
just feel like seeing both of them kind of go back and forth with like all their hits would be really fun. You get like a good New York style feeling to it because they're both from New York and they're both like two of the greatest to ever do it. Um, and it's also kind of an old school, like you'll have a lot of songs that like you may not have heard in a while, like like, oh,
Yeah.
Jay-Z, I forgot that he does this song. Oh, Nas does this song, I've heard this song before. Like I feel like you get a lot of that like kind of like reaction to a lot of people who would watch that. And then like I said, just again, seeing the two of them together on a stage or on like a big platform, kind of just like singing some of their best songs, to me that would just get me excited to see it. So if I remember the other one that I was contemplating against, it might have been Lil Wayne and Drake, actually, now that I think about it. But for me, I just think Nas and Jay-Z would be awesome to see go back and forth.
Isn't that crazy how big Jay-Z is, or how we both said it for different reasons,
Yeah.
but it's Jay-Z's just Jay-Z, man. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
I don't know, like I respect him. I always respected him as a rapper, but it hasn't been until like recently, like in like the past, like I don't know, like maybe 5 years or so. But like I just kind of respect him more as like a performer too. um
Yeah.
and just like just kind of his personality, like he's very social when it comes to like doing interviews. Like if you get him on an interview, like he'll talk, he'll say things. So I just really appreciate that more about him. And I've never really understood, like not understood, but I never really like appreciate the fact that he can be like fun. Like I've always thought that he was just like very serious and like, no, like I'm just gonna rap and then you're not gonna ask me any questions, and I'm not. But he's actually a pretty fun guy. So I feel like that would be fun to see him go up against Nas or Drake or whoever. But like he will obviously be like a really fun person to do that no matter who he's going up against.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
So
I totally agree.
yeah.
Awesome. So we want everyone to let us know, comment, DM, tweet at us, what you think about, our answers, what your answers are. We'd love to hear back. Got some responses this week, so keep them coming. Would love to, keep it going on that. So before we go, end the show, it's time to review Taboo by Denzel Curry. And man, it's a good album.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Zoo,
Mhm.
and I think to me it might just be a little better, but this album's really good, and I'm a big fan of Zoo, so I like this album a
Yeah.
lot. I honestly, the only song I might say I don't, love is actually the song with an artist I do like, which is JID.
Mhm.
I actually am a big fan of him I
Yep.
saw him at Dreamville Fest, and he was good. Um, and I like his features on other things lately, but that's the only song I was like, eh. But everything else, I'm a big fan of, and I love. I think my favorite song is Black Balloons.
Hmm.
I love the sound of that, and I
Yeah.
just love how versatile he is on this album. I think he goes in so many different directions. Like I said, Black Balloons, and then he'll be, on a song. What is it? What is it? Black Metal Terrorism, or
Hmm.
the one where he has a few features on that it's like, what the hell is he's going crazy, but then he'll rap over like all these different types of beats, and I think he just shows how versatile he can be and how good he is being over
Yeah.
that. And this, like, because I like Zoo, I thought it was good, and then after listening to this I realized, what you said is 100% true. Like, he is like the most underrated, or he's very of this generation. He should be, up there, and more well known and more out there and more popular than he is, but he just, for some reason isn't. But he's a really good artist, and I'm going to listen to, the rest of his discography. um
Yeah.
but yeah, this was a really good pick, and it seems like I need to come out with a good one this time then, because the last one was you've had some good ones. I had a letdown last time, so I got to come out with a good one.
Yeah, no, I just I like I like the song Sumo a lot. Like that's one of those songs where like I put it on and like I just like want to run through a fucking brick wall because like
Yeah,
it's just like so hard. And he's just, he's talking just about money, like his pockets being so big because he's got money, but like it's just the way that he presents that song is just so crazy to me. And then I totally understand what you're saying, like how he like is so versatile with like his voice, because one of my other favorite songs too is Switch It Up. And
yeah,
my favorite part of that song is just like he'll like start rapping in like this like very proper voice, and then he'll start sounding like a gremlin, like he'll be like,
yeah,
to be or not to me, damn it, I'm lit. Like he'll just start going crazy, and then he'll come back to like this like very like proper like English man voice, and then he'll just go back to being a gremlin. Like it's crazy. So yeah,
yeah.
so I don't know, I love his versatility, but yeah, just his rapping too is just very underrated, and he's definitely not as appreciated as much as some of the other folks in hip hop. So yeah, so I like that album a lot. I like Zoo a lot too. And I think I told you last time too, he also has like a small like album EP with Kenny Beats, which is also really good too. So
Yeah, I'm
cool.
definitely gonna check his discography out.
Yeah.
Because yeah, Zoo and Taboo are really good albums. So
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, the album I'm gonna give you is, let me know if you listen to it. I don't think you have, obviously.
Okay.
That's what they say. That's what they all say by Jack Harlow.
I have not heard that.
Man,
All right.
he can rap.
Yeah. All right.
He can tell, honestly, a decent story.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I
Cool.
was I was like, I liked What's Poppin'. Who didn't like? I don't know if you didn't like it, but I don't think anyone didn't like it. It was just a catchy song. Uh,
Yeah, I don't even think I've ever heard that one either. The only thing I know him from is the new, um,
Lil Nas X.
yeah, Lil Nas X "Industry Baby" song. Like, and
Yeah,
I loved his verse on that. Like, I thought his verse on that song kind of made that song a little bit in its own way. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear it because I've heard that he's really good. And I was impressed by that verse, obviously. So yeah, I'm excited to hear this whole album.
awesome. Yeah, it's his most recent release, and I think this is actually his first studio album. He has some mixtapes, but that's his
Okay,
first studio album. Yeah, he has some good
cool.
features on there, and we'll find out next episode what Kyle thinks. So
All right,
thank
awesome.
you, everyone, for checking in, listening, watching. Uh, Greatly appreciated. As always, follow, subscribe on Instagram at The Hip Hop Debate, YouTube at The Hip Hop Debate, and Twitter at We Debate Hip Hop. Subscribe, like I said, wherever podcasts are available. Subscribe on YouTube. And it's been real. Deuces.
Peace.